Oh, hi. My name is Brandon, and I'll be explaining Qualia to you. Now, you might be asking yourself, what is Qualia? Well, I'm going to tell you. Basically, Qualia is kind of a word taken from philosophy, basically trying to explain consciousness. Now, I'm going to be explaining it in a neurological sense. Well, what does that mean in a neurological sense? Well, basically, we take in stimulus and we assign meaning to it. It's our own raw feeling towards a stimulus. Now, I'll hold up an apple, and you might see this apple, and I'll see this apple. It's external stimulus that is actual in the world. It's not a hallucination to me. You can see it. It's not a hallucination to you. So it's something, actually in the world, outside of ourselves. So we take this in with our eyes, and I see it's a green apple, and I start to associate things with this apple. I start to think about certain things. The stimulus of the apple makes me think, apple, yum. I'd like to eat that apple. Apple pie. What about apple pie? That was really good. My grandma makes apple pie. Well, maybe I start thinking about my grandma. So I've already assigned meaning to this apple. You might see something completely different. You see a green apple and you think, yuck, I don't like sour apples. Sour, that's bad. Yuck. So you've already assigned something completely different than what I've assigned meaning to. It's something subjective and unique to every one of us according to stimulus. Can't experience the same things that the other person might experience. I might be able to tell you what maybe this coffee tastes like, but you might never know what coffee I'm drinking. I can tell you it tastes good and everything about it, but you'll never experience that because that's my own qualia. It's my own experience. And so what does this exactly mean in a neurological sense as far as trying to examine what's going on in the brain? Well, turns out scientists still really don't know. There's some theories floating around about how it could be simultaneous firing of neurons in different regions, but according to Ramachandran and some other scientists have been studying this, it's a whole network of different apparatuses in the brain that are working together to create a picture, and more importantly, meaning. Hence qualia, meaning, to a certain stimulus. This includes things like frontal lobe, because I will make a plan about something. I have to think about it. Occipital lobe, because I am looking at this apple. It's going through my retinas, getting into V1, going to specific neurons in my occipital lobe about color, the where-what pathways about what it is, where it is in relation, forethought to plan to maybe grab it. So basically, it's accessing many different parts of the brain. It even can make a gut reaction to a specific stimulus. Like Ramachandran was trying to explain in the book, that maybe there's this guy that never has been able to see color. He can understand it to a fundamental level, but he'll never experience color. And what's even more interesting is this green, to me, can look something completely different to you, but we can explain it in a way that this certain color, maybe you might see red as green, and you are seeing red, and you try to explain it, and there's a disconnect because I can't experience what you experience. That's your qualia. It's your consciousness. It's yourself. And qualia makes up yourself. It's the experiences that you have and the assignment and the meaning that you have given to different stimulus. Things where we have an infinite amount of number of different meanings a certain stimulus can have. And that's kind of feeding into Ramachandran's 4 laws of qualia. Yeah, I know, you're thinking, well, in the book, I only read 3. But in 2001, he added a 4th. So it goes like this. The stimulus has to be irrevocable, something outside yourself. It can't be hallucination like I stated earlier. And it has to be, you have to be able to perceive it. So I have to be able to see with my eyes to perceive it, or I have to be able to touch it. So the stimulus is there. So I see this apple. It projects a representation in my mind, one input, but the input has an infinite amount of outputs. I can explain this in several different ways, or I can think about it, and I can assign many meanings at a sequence, or I could pick out a specific meaning out of infinite number of different meanings for this particular stimulus. So this is basically saying there's a value-dependent memory. Value. Adding value to a stimulus. And you're accessing memory. Every conscious sense is unique. Unique to you, unique to me, unique to everyone. And like Ramasamson was explaining with the bee, and there's kind of like a free will to it. Like I have to be able to make a choice about it to make it truly qualia. He was explaining about how the bee could go find pollen and try to bring the message back to the hive, but once it finds the pollen, it's pre-programmed to just do it. It has no choice. It just does it. That kind of feeds into the zombie network. It's really hard to measure because it's synapses that are firing electrically and chemically firing. And how do you measure something that is uniquely subjective? How do you measure something that is unique to each and an individual in this world? It's really hard to measure that, but they are working on it. But maybe I hopefully answered some questions about what qualia is, the meaning assigned to stimulus. Anyways, I'm going to enjoy this really tasty cookie. You have a good day. And there's a good cookie.